So there's this kid. His name's Graham Young, and right from the start, everyone knew there was something off about him. He wasn't into sports or comics or even normal teenage mischief. Nope, Graham was obsessed with poison, like seriously obsessed. At just 14 years old, while other kids were thinking about video games or music, Graham was at home reading about toxicology, learning everything he could about what chemicals could kill you. He spent hours at the local library, flipping through chemistry books, taking notes on arsenic, thallium, antimony, all these deadly substances most adults couldn't even pronounce. His classmates thought he was just a quiet, nerdy kid. But deep down, Graham wasn't just studying poisons for fun. He wanted to use them. One day, he walks into a local pharmacy, this scrawny little 14-year-old, and tells the chemist that he's actually 17, studying chemistry for school. And the pharmacist buys it. He gives Graham access to arsenic, digitalis, antimony, and thallium, basically a starter pack for a future serial killer. And that's when things start getting really dark, because now Graham isn't just reading about poisons anymore. He's about to start testing them.
Graham's experiments didn't stay on paper for long. He started small, a classmate's biscuit here, a spiked sandwich there. Kids got sick, vomiting, stomach cramps, the kind of mysterious illnesses that teachers blamed on bad lunches. Graham watched it happen and took notes like a student doing a science project. At home, things went wrong in a way that would make anyone uneasy. Family dinners turned into a rotating mystery, bouts of diarrhea, dizzy spells, random fevers. Everyone thought it was a bug, bad food, stress, normal everyday explanations for an old-fashioned household. Graham didn't look sick, so suspicion never quite landed on him, at least not at first. His sister usually ate elsewhere, which is probably why she dodged most of it. But one evening, he slipped belladonna into her tea. She collapsed, and they rushed her to the hospital. Doctors said, plainly, poisoning. Suddenly, the family started looking at Graham with real fear. They tried to explain it away. Kids misjudge things, an accident, but the seed of doubt was planted. Then his stepmother got seriously ill. The symptoms were subtle but worsening. Confusion, pain, progressive weakness. She died suddenly. The official story pinned it on complications from old injuries and a bus accident she'd had years before. Medicine in the 1960s wasn't exactly forensic heaven, so the sudden death was chalked up to bad luck, not malice. His father collapsed next, admitted to hospital, pale and failing. It was hard to ignore the pattern now. A concerned science teacher finally did what no one else had. He searched Graham's school desk, and there it was. Vials, notes about infamous poisoners, meticulous lists of chemicals. The teacher went straight to the headmaster. The headmaster called the family doctor. The doctor called the police. When the police questioned Graham, he surprised everyone by not snapping. He confessed, calmly, oddly proud, admitting to poisoning his classmate, his sister, his stepmother, and his father. At 14, Graham was sent to Broadmoor, one of Britain's high-security psychiatric hospitals. He became one of the youngest patients there, a quiet boy in a very dark place. But Broadmoor didn't cure his curiosity. Inside the hospital, drinks were tampered with and staff fell mysteriously ill. One fellow patient died with cyanide in his system. Graham's notebook obsession didn't stop at Broadmoor's gates. If anything, the isolation sharpened it.
8 years go by. Graham is now 23, calm, polite, and seemingly rehabilitated. Doctors believe he's cured. No more obsession with poisons, no more strange behavior. So, in 1971, they release him. Big mistake. Because almost immediately after leaving Broadmoor, Graham goes right back to what he knows best. He moves into a hostel and starts experimenting again, mixing, testing, watching people get sick. But soon he wants a larger laboratory, so he gets a job at a photography supply company where he has access to all kinds of chemicals. And just like before, people around him start falling ill. It begins with mild headaches,
nausea, strange cramps. Then it escalates. His coworkers start collapsing at their desks. One of them, his manager, gets so sick he ends up in the hospital and dies. Another coworker falls ill not long after, with eerily similar symptoms. Within 2 weeks, he's dead too. Doctors can't ignore it this time. 2 sudden deaths from unexplained causes in the same small office? No chance that's random. Meanwhile, the staff at the company are panicking. Everyone's sick, nobody knows why. So the company's medical officer comes in to reassure them. Don't worry, I don't think you were poisoned. And that's when Graham, sitting in the room, argues with him. He starts listing symptoms, explaining which poisons could cause them, debating the details like an expert defending his thesis. Everyone stares at him like, how do you even know all that? The medical officer walks out of that room thinking, something's really wrong with this guy. He reports Graham to the management, who call the police. When the police search his place, it's like deja vu. Bottles of poison, detailed diaries describing who he poisoned, how much he used, and what symptoms they had. It's not a collection, it's a confession. They arrest him on the spot.
In court, Graham sits there like a scientist defending an experiment. Cold, emotionless, precise. He tells investigators that watching people die from poison gave him satisfaction, that he liked studying the effects on the human body. It wasn't about hate, it was about curiosity, the darkest kind imaginable. The media called him the Teacup Poisoner, because most of his victims were poisoned through something as innocent as a cup of tea. In 1972, Graham Young was convicted of 2 murders and 2 attempted murders and sentenced to life in prison. He never got out again. In 1990, prison guards found him dead in his cell, just 42 years old. Cause of death: heart failure. But to this day, some people believe he might have poisoned himself one last time. Graham Young wasn't a monster in the traditional sense. He wasn't violent. He wasn't loud. He was quiet, polite, and disturbingly intelligent. And that's what made him so terrifying. He turned science, something meant to heal and understand, into a tool for destruction. All starting from a boy who just wanted to learn about poisons.